We've got a Fleet Week episode that's coming up, so you'll see how she fares through Fleet Week being in a relationship. And we may or may not get to see her Duke by the time the series finishes this season.
Well, just to start off, I know that you were a personal fan of the original Night Court. Now we've got almost two seasons under our belt with the reboot. So looking back, what, similarities or differences are you enjoying about the two iterations?
Well, first and foremost, we are on the most of the original set from the original show, so that's always cool. So I grew up doing theater, and once you get to actual being on the stage and in the set, that's when so many things come out and there's extra layers. And so being here and living in this space and knowing that your previous predecessors have walked the same stage, that just heightens everything for us. So it's a nice home to come to and to come back to.
Well, I gotta say that Gurgs is hands down the funniest character, in my opinion, on the series. Your line delivery is absolutely incredible. So, what do you enjoy about the character's sense of humor, and how do you feel it meshes with the other characters on a sitcom like this?
For them, at times they have a very specific way that they set up their jokes. And then all of a sudden you have Gurgs that just kind of whips around or comes out of nowhere or just looks at what they just said and makes a comment that is not quite on the mark, but also spot on the mark. And you never know what she's gonna say, but it all seems to work out together. And I love that. You've got this quartet, this quintet, and you've got strings, and then there's a random trombone that comes through every once in a while.
Gurgs and Dan have such a fun on-screen dynamic. Their back and forth feels so natural. It made me wonder if you and John ever do any kind of improv during rehearsals.
No, but we talk a lot. And I think because we've come to know each other so much better since when we started day one. And I think there is also something within me that I have a bit of an old soul and we connect so well. But Carrie Butler is a mutual friend of ours. And so I work with Carrie, he's worked with Carrie. And Carrie was so kind to be like, okay, now, he could be a bit abrasive, but don't let that fool you. He's a sweetheart. Da, da, da. And I was like, yeah, thank you so much for that. I think, but I think it's going to be okay. And then when we met for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, this is my buddy. Everything is going to be just fine. So I love our scenes together. And my friends also comment, they're like, oh, are you going to get a scene with Dan? Are you going to get a scene with Dan? And I actually do. I live for those scenes together.
You've also had so many incredible guest stars on the show. I mean, this season and last season. So I am curious if there is an actor who you would like to see come in that you think would have a good storyline.
The big question has been, since we started, are the Wheelers coming back? And I can say for certain that you should tune in very soon and see if they do come back. Yeah.
Is there a storyline for Gurgs that you would like to see explored that hasn't been explored yet? Because I'd love to get some more into her personal life.
Yeah, we've been hinting at someone that she's been dating and she's been seeing, and we've got a Fleet Week episode that's coming up, so you'll see how she fares through Fleet Week being in a relationship. And we may or may not get to see her Duke by the time the series finishes this season.
Well, then what other things? I mean, I feel you're giving me a lot of info. So what other fun things are you looking forward to in these last couple of episodes?
I'm looking forward to Marsha Warfield coming back and spending some time, spending more time with us, and taking her storyline further. When she was last with us, we established that she is a private detective now, private eye now, and she has a fiance, and they've been planning their wedding. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Make sure you in for the season's finale.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm so excited for the final episodes, but thanks so much for chatting with me today.
Rachel, thanks for being here.
Yeah, you have a good one. And I've got all the fingers crossed for season 3.